Hello again, and here we are to talk about the Matchbox 15D Volkswagen Beetle. So the 15D, so this is the fourth model in the number 15 range. We're going to talk about regular wheel and Superfast here. Again, this model's for me is great because it does give a full sort of inventory of box types, and it's one of the few models that does that throughout its time frame. So we'll do boxes first. So the early model is obviously the regular wheel model, and the first type box will be the F style box. No E, it was too late for an E box. So just the F. But you will see a couple of variations there that we have with and without auto steer. And there were a handful of models where Matchbox incorporated this rather sort of nifty design to the front wheels, and basically what you did, if you sort of pushed and leaned to one side, it's got this mechanism underneath that the actual wheels turned, and I thought that was really novel, actually, and I think they were the pioneers of that. I think other manufacturers copied it. But for a small scale model to have that sort of mechanism, it just goes to show how good, in the day Lesney were. Okay, now I'm not knocking any other sort of model range, but I tell you what, guys, Lesney knocked the other manufacturers into a hat. I mean, their quality, their innovations, was just stunning. It really was. I mean, their attention to detail, the injection moulding systems they used was absolutely fantastic. I mean, Lesney really got it right. So hats off to them. Absolutely, fantastic engineering, I have to say. Inspired, of course, by Jack O'Dell. So you've got the two regular wheel F boxes, and I've recently sort of learned that they dropped the auto steer for the Superfast range, actually. Because as you'll see here, that the early Superfast box just had a red flash to it, and the thing is, at the time they were still producing regular wheel alongside Superfast because you had other worldwide markets where they didn't receive Superfast for a year or so. I mean, all the early Superfast went to the States because obviously because of the Hot Wheel problem. Lesney, their sales were down like 75%. Can you believe that? In like 1 year. They'd gone from like 27 million pound revenue down to about 7, and that was all down to the Hot Wheel red line. So they had to do something, and they reacted obviously with the early Superfast. So the majority of those did go to the States and North America, and Canada. There has been talk about this box being used for the Superfast as well, and I can see that. Now, I was saying about the boxes, and you get a full progression here, and we've got the F with the two variations. We have the two F boxes. Now, there's only 6 models that have two F boxes on the Superfast range, and this is one of them. And this is the first one we're going to look at. So, the red Superfast flash there, okay, and essentially exactly the same box. They've just incorporated the red Superfast flash on the end flap and on the front picture there, okay, and then a few months later, they commissioned I call it the F2 box, basically, because it's got the Superfast flash. But here we have, a dedicated Superfast model, with Superfast branding showing Superfast wheels. So you've got the two regular wheel F boxes, then you've got the two Superfast F boxes. We've got the G, and we even have the H as well. So that whole sort of production run saw that all the way through from sort of 69 to about sort of 73, 74. And yes, they could have introduced an I box. It was deleted by the the J box come out. But as I say, the H and I box were very, very similar. It was just the lack of the red whizzy wheel here. No real variations on the G box, okay, and no variation on the H box. However, there is a Japanese box, H box, for this model, which has a different number. I can't remember what number it is now, top of my head, but it does show a different number. But that's a Japanese issue, and I didn't add it to collection because, as I've said to you before, I've stayed with the Lesney England models. Okay, for colours, okay, both regular wheel and Superfast, we have like you'll have an off-white and a sort of pale cream. Okay. Also, again, both on regular wheel and Superfast, you'll have a 137 decal and a 137 label, and you'll get that on Superfast and regular wheel. Now, this little gem here, okay, this is a model that, you know, shouldn't really exist, but it does. This is again, this come from an ex-designer, and you know, this has got some authenticity to it. It's actually got an unpressed roof rivet here, and it's got a hand pressed base rivet, which gives it that sort of authenticity. It is a model that is faked, and I've seen quite a few fakes these last couple of years or so. So just be very, very careful where you buy that from. To be honest with you, you know, the average one, when you generally see them, that they're not right. Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting piece, because, you know, you've got this time frame here. So, you know, you're going from 69 into 70, sort of 71. And the red ones are sort of generally released you know, sort of late 1970. But it is interesting how these sort of wheels get sort of swapped around and things, and you not only see it on the Beetle, you see it on other models, and you think, well, it shouldn't actually exist, but it does. Again, it's all over the place, really, the Lesney factory, and, you know, they may have had castings sitting around. In fact, we know they did because of the transitional period, you know, and then they just knocked out a few to go to other markets. Because I say, you know, the Superfast really went to North America, whereas the rest of and England, of course, and the rest of the world was still getting regular wheel. This particular one here, you may not see it properly in the picture, but it is a darker red as well. The later ones here, okay, are a lighter sort of metallic red. The other thing to talk about, which you can't actually see in the picture. In fact, I'll go to the Vectis site in a moment and show you. But the early ones had this decal, like a number plate and decal, and the later ones had this cast feature on the front. So let's see if we can find that. There we are. Okay, if you can see that, there we are. So it's got this sort of cast number plate, and I think these were, essentially for the Japanese market, because it was released on the Japanese. I don't think this was a general sort of England release, but again, it's just a good variation to have. Okay, so that covers the 15D Beetle. Thanks ever so much for watching, and we'll move on to the next 15 very soon. Take care, guys.